Hello from Jonathan and me, and welcome to the programme.
First tonight, they came here with hopes of finding a well-paid job and a better life. But the reality is that many migrants are living homeless and destitute. Now, in a new scheme, the government is offering to pay for their flights home. It's all part of a bid to clear the shanty towns that are springing up across our region. Well, the idea is being piloted in Peterborough at a cost of £150,000. And Claire McGlasson's been there to find out more.
This is home. Odds and ends of plastic held together with pieces of string. The migrants who live here came to England for a better life. Now they live in a shanty town.
So, no sleep, too cold.
No, okay.
One of several, hidden just yards away from the main roads of Peterborough.
On this camp in Peterborough, I've spoken to 2 men today of 3 who live here. They speak very little English, but what I have managed to understand, one of them told me they're from Slovakia. Now, he got a job here 2 years ago, worked here as a cleaner, and when that work dried up, he was forced to move here to this camp where he's been sleeping rough for more than a year.
It's migrants like these who are being offered a ticket out of squalor. A ticket on a flight back to their home country, and the government is footing the bill. A £150,000 pilot scheme being trialled here in Peterborough.
The cost of a week in prison is something like £900. The cost of the NHS of somebody ending up having treatment for something like bronchitis or pneumonia or developing serious mental health problems is huge. So, yes, there's incredible value for money there.
But not everyone is convinced.
I think the problem is the deal that they've been offered in the first place. They have this heads they win, tails we lose deal going, whereby people can come and seek opportunities in Britain, and if it doesn't work out, we have to pick up the tab.
Around half of the homeless people at St Teresa's Day Centre in Peterborough today were Eastern European, and numbers are rising. Migrants are many, but jobs are few. More economic migrants apply for jobs here in the east of England than anywhere else in the country. That's more than London and the Midlands.
Some want to stay here, want to develop their lives here and to get careers here. There are a handful, I would say, who would leap at the chance to get back home to Lithuania, Latvia, Poland, or wherever they come from.
But do the people of Peterborough think taxpayers should be paying their fares home?
Homeless in this country is terrible. They should put a bit more into the community and help out, rather than, help everyone else out.
Well, they can't afford it themselves. Someone's got to help them, haven't they? So
I don't agree with immigrants coming over. Yes, some, but not as many.
22 migrants in Peterborough have already taken a free flight home. But when I asked these men if they would accept a ticket, they shook their heads. They still hope to make it work in England. Claire McGlasson, Anglia News, Peterborough.
Next tonight, the local government shake-up that has given the chance of home rule to Norwich and put Suffolk's future in the hands of its councils and MPs.
The decision means Norwich could become the 9th unitary authority in our region after Southend, Thurrock, Peterborough, Rutland, Bedford, Luton, Central Bedfordshire and Milton Keynes.
But while the plan has been welcomed at Norwich's City Hall, there's also the threat of a legal challenge, and others have condemned the whole process as a waste of public money. Malcolm Robertson reports.
Sunshine in Norwich and a spring in the city's step. It's got the go-ahead to run its own affairs. All its services currently run by Norfolk County Council will be devolved to Norwich. After a long, protracted process, the government has today granted unitary status to Norwich based on its current city boundaries.
We believe that that would put it in a good position to take forward economic growth and prosperity for the people of Norwich.
It means the biggest upheaval in local government in Norfolk since 1974. It also means this year's city council elections are cancelled.
When people do look at their council tax bills, at the moment they see City Council taking some, County Council taking some, and nobody quite knows what the City and County do actually do. We'll be able to be much better held to account we'll be much more efficient, we'll be able to provide more effective services. It's just going to work better.
But while there were celebrations in Norwich, Ipswich still doesn't know what its future is. One of the options for Suffolk was a joint unitary council involving Ipswich and Felixstowe, but it'll be left to the various MPs and councils in Suffolk to decide what unitary solution they want. They'll surely leave things as they are.
It's not just frustrating, it's extraordinary because Norwich and Exeter have been offered a unitary authority and not Ipswich, and I don't know what the reasoning behind it is.
The decision to give Norwich its own unitary council has come as something of a surprise, especially as it was considered the least favoured of the options, and because a previous Secretary of State had turned down a previous application to break away because it was considered too expensive. But then this is a decision made by a Labour government, eroding the powers of a large Tory-controlled county council. Today's decision has angered officials at the County Council, who claim it'll cost more than £18 million just to set up Norwich's unitary authority.
We've always made the case that Norfolk and Norwich go hand in hand. The interdependencies between the city and the county are crucial to the success of Norwich as well as Norfolk, and you don't need vast structural upheaval and the costly expense of unpicking services to be able to make the city and the county work better together.
What it means for Norwich is that new senior director posts would be created at City Hall to run departments such as education, social services and highways. Each would be likely to command a salary of around £120,000 and mirror the work done by the same departments at County Hall. Although in Norwich's City Hall there's a sense of satisfaction tonight, they know this isn't the end of the story. Norfolk have announced they're mounting a legal challenge, and if there is a change of government, today's decision would be overturned anyway. Malcolm Robertson, Anglia News.
Seeing that snow in Malcolm's report, just to say the man will be here with the weather report shortly. Right next, a woman's been left with long-lasting nerve damage after a team of French doctors operated on her wrong toe.
Karen Saunders was treated at the Luton and Dunstable hospital, but she says the surgeon, who had a poor grasp of English, left her with a permanent limp.
Well, the story comes just a week after a coroner ruled that a German locum had unlawfully killed a man from Cambridgeshire. Neil Bradford has this report.
It is impossible for Karen Saunders to forget about her hospital nightmare. Her botched operation at the hands of foreign surgeons has left her with a permanent limp. The fast-track procedure was carried out by a team of French surgeons at the Luton and Dunstable Hospital in 2005. They were brought in to help meet government waiting list targets. Karen says the atmosphere was anything but calm.
Absolutely chaotic, and it continued into when I had epidural and I was wide awake through it, and it was as hectic in the theatre. Things were being thrown around, conversations were all in French, the music was in French.
What should have been a 20-minute procedure took 2 hours. The surgeon had even managed to operate on the wrong toe.
The pain was in my big toe, and I couldn't understand what was going on. It wasn't until later on in May, when I went back to see the original surgeon, that they looked at the x-rays and said the tumour's still there, dislocation's still there, and why the hell have you had a scarf, because there was nothing wrong with your big toe.
The Luton and Dunstable Hospital admitted liability and says it's apologised to Mrs Saunders. She was paid an out-of-court settlement of £282,000. In a statement, the hospital said the surgeons were employed through an agency between November 2004 and February 2005 to carry out procedures at the weekend. An investigation was launched by the hospital, and the agency is no longer used to supply locums. The waiting list initiative has also not been repeated. In total, 5 patients have settled out of court for similar botched operations at the hospital. Mrs Saunders' solicitor says, just like the case of Dr Abani, the surgeons are free to continue practising.
The surgeons that were brought over have just gone back to France without any retraining or with any disciplinary action, and have effectively, the NHS, the Luton and Dunstable Hospital, has had to redo operations, which has cost them a lot more in the long run.
As she tries to rebuild her life, Karen Saunders says all she ever wanted was an apology. Neil Bradford, Anglia News, Harlington in Bedfordshire.
In other news,